What shape? I need to fill it I called her back. I said, please. I had everything else over. Missed the picture. Let's go, boss. They tried to wait on somebody, but yeah, they just did it. Hey, man. I'm just going to start bringing that. My life would be a little easier. Not just problem with me. Well, it's good to see everybody this evening. I hope everybody's doing well. And it seems like we got a forum here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to ask Supervisor Montgomery, if you don't mind, open us up with prayer.
If you will, please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, once again we do come as a board and we come to do the county's business. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all this beautiful weather. Bless each one of these board members tonight as they leave this meeting and their business that they carry throughout their week. Be with our state leaders, dear Lord, the burden that they carry. Be with our national leaders and our military, both here as they do flood cleanup and the disasters and storms that we have had, dear Lord, locally, and the fights that they have abroad. Dear Lord, be with each and every one of the people after they leave here, dear Lord, and keep them safe. Thank you for all the many blessings, and be with everyone's families as well. It's in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Supervisor Montgomery. All right, we have an agenda here, and we'll try to follow it as carefully as we can so we can do what needs to be done, take as much time as we need, and move on. First item of business on the agenda, citizen comment period. Are there any citizens here tonight that would like to approach the board for up to 3 minutes? If you will, you may come forward at this time, and we ask that you will state your name, and you can go into your comments and requests, and if you want to keep it under 3 minutes. Good evening.
I'm Joanna Young, and I've had 3 points, but I see one of them is we addressed in the budget road project with the updates from Mr. Pritchard and Mr. Allen, so I won't go into that one. My first one is I would like to thank the board for your approval and Supervisor Williams for the stripes on AJ Road. It has made a tremendous difference, and I would like to thank you all for that. At night, so much easier traveling and managing your driving. So I really appreciate that. And the second one is pretty much what I addressed last time in the meeting with the potholes. And it's one right below the experimental station. I'm very familiar with it, but a lot of times oncoming traffic is coming, and I know you all are doing as much as you can to keep up with the potholes and keep up managing everything. But that one, if traffic is oncoming, you pretty much fall into it every time. And the last couple of weeks, I fall into it 4 or 5 times. And I just wanted to be reported that if I have any problems, it will be addressed in the minutes with the board, so where possibly we won't have any problems, because it's becoming a danger. It's right before the experimental station, and it was actually 2, one right over the hill and one couple of feet down below there. And also at the first bridge on Blackjack Road, it has been, road work has been done on it. And I know it is kept up as well as possible also, but it's causing a little dink in it, but so you can kind of address that one for us, or kind of keep a watch on that. We would appreciate it.
All right, well, we certainly appreciate you coming, Z.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I think I saw some others come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank y'all for this opportunity to give me. I'm Betty Rogers, and I live on 51 Old West Point Road. I'm an old age widow woman, being mistreated. I have a complaint of a ditch in front of me with standing water, is unsanitary, mosquitoes, and bugs is around that area. I would like if the board, if everyone, want to come and see what I'm talking about, and see, can I get maybe a paved ditch? It has your health hazard to me, my grandchildren, and my family. It really is. So I was requesting if I could get the board to probably come out and do a paved ditch, put pavement in it to keep the water flowing, because it's just sitting there standing. And that's what I would like to do, and see if they get started around June 1st maybe, because I have grandchildren and family coming, and they do play in my front yard, play ball, and it goes out there. I can't even cut it unless I'm putting on boots, cutting in nasty water, unsanitary water. And I would just request, could I get that?
Ms. Rogers, what's your address?
5101 Old West Point Road, Starkville.
All right, well, we thank you, Ms. Rogers, for coming, and I hope the board can, if you will, if you can take time out to go out and investigate Ms. Rogers' situation and report back and see if we can come up with some kind of resolution.
Okay. My phone number is 662-320-2487. And I would like for y'all to, give a call so I can show you all, what I'm talking about. Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming.
Sure.
All right, is anyone else who would like to approach the board?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Chris Taylor. I'm with the Oktibbeha County NAACP, and I want to thank you all for your support during our 50th anniversary. For the ones that attended, they got a great treat. We had our national president there. Somebody still owe me. I ain't gonna say who, but I'll see y'all later. But after that, they said,
and somebody still owes me. I won't say who, but I'll see you later.
but anyway, the NAACP is holding a voter registration drive, especially if you're running for candidate. You're running again Thursday afternoon at J.L. King Park from 4 to 7. Come on out. We should have some hot dogs and some sodas and stuff. Just trying to get the community and everyone that's registered to vote. Also, we worked, well, when I say we, I'm talking about the organization NAACP. They was at the school also taking voter registration this past week. And we can continue to do that until whenever. It might be next year, year after, but we will not stop till we know at least 90% of the county that is authorized, registered to vote can.
That's good service.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thursday from 4 to 7. J.L. King Park. Come on out.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
I don't have a complaint. I have actually here on behalf of the Mississippi Gold Chasers, which is new in the county of Oktibbeha County. It's a travel track team, and I submitted something to you all 2 weeks ago. But I'm here because I don't know if the board can make a decision, or if you can do a personal, each board supervisor can do a personal contribution toward the AAU travel track team that we have that just started. This is the first year. Right now we have 35 kids. This past weekend we just went to Madison, Mississippi and competed and we came in second place overall. In August we went to Alabama, and that's the first track meet. They came in 4th place. So we're getting ready to go to Memphis, Tennessee, June the 1st. And after that, I don't know if we're going to Hamilton, Louisiana, or we're going to Hoover, Alabama. But we're trying to advance, and we want you all to know that we are asking, since it's a nonprofit organization, for your support in anything that these kids do, because it actually teaches them life skills also. We have mentoring for life skills, and just trying to keep the kids out of trouble and give them something to do. And like I said, it is a AAU track and travel team, and it's a nonprofit organization. So, and we're trying to leave no kids out, because a lot of kids families don't have the finances to do, and we're trying to keep those kids from being out there, the ones that are getting in trouble because they don't have anything to do. So I'm here on behalf of them. I'm the running grandmother of a team. I have 4, which mine's, we can personally do, but there are a lot of kids that's gonna be left behind because they don't have, we don't have the finances to do something because it's a nonprofit organization. But once again, it is the Mississippi Gold Chasers. I did give you all a thing in your box 2 weeks ago, so if you would.
If you would, restate your name and your contact information.
My name is Felisa Ashford. My number is 662-418-9622. The head coach of this AA track team is a young man that was, I'll say, through Hurricane Katrina, he came this way. And he had a vision the first part of this year of that's what he wanted to do. And he put it intact, and he approached me, he said, Ms. Ashford, he said, I don't know very much about stars. And my granddaughter was the only one who wanted to be. Now I have 4 on the track team. So he said, can you find some kind of way to help me do what we need to do and get done? Because he has a great passion, and those kids love him. We actually have, we say 5 to 18, but we have some 3-year-olds out there think they can run. And of course, I'm a little sore because they fooled grandmama to get out there and do the open. So I'm here on behalf of request, so y'all give me a call and let me know if there's anything you can do.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else that would like to approach the board during such kind of period? If not, then we'll move right along with the agenda. Election commissioner. The CDB application, Boys and Girls Club, Ms. Benson.
Good evening. Phyllis Benson, Golden Triangle Planning and Development District. Right after the first of the year, I came to you to discuss the Community Development Block Grant application. You followed up with a resolution authorizing us to prepare an application for the Boys and Girls Club. Well, Miss Nadia Cologne attended the CDBG workshop, and she heard the same ruling that I heard. And that is that your matching funds had to be in place at the time of the application submittal, which was last Friday, May the 17th. She has quite a task in front of her. The maximum grant size is $600,000, which we all know will, while it's a good start, it won't go very far to build a building to meet their needs. So she has the large task of raising money to be the match for this particular project. There is a new federal regulation in place that says that the professional for the project cannot be the engineer or architect of record unless they are procured prior to the application being submitted. Well, I know it sounds early, but what we would like to do is go ahead and begin preparing for next year. So, which would involve going through the federal procurement process for an architectural firm. We will advertise once a week for 2 consecutive weeks, solicit minority and or female-owned businesses by certified receipt return mail, and contact the Mississippi Contract Procurement Center. That being said, we will let John Key Public know of your intent, and because you will be the applicant, if you choose to do so next year, you will be the applicant, so you bear the responsibility of hiring that particular firm. Now, you will not enter into a contract with them yet, because obviously the project is not environmentally cleared, it's almost as though we're putting the cart in front of the horse, but nonetheless, it's a federal rule that we have to follow, so. We'll follow all of the procurement guidelines, a review committee will meet and select an engineer or architect and then come back to this board and make a recommendation. And then I assume that the Boys and Girls Club will work with that professional and to develop some preliminary plans and specifications that will get us to the application.
I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Alright, my first question is, since this is the last year of this elected, you know what I'm fixing to ask, the last year of this board's, we can't go into a long-term contract, I guess until November, I guess would be my next best ability for us to actually go into a contract. My second question is, if we decide to do this, will we need to do a local and private to help fund this if we have not done that already?
I don't know that a local private will be necessary, but some type of interlocal agreement or memorandum of understanding needs to be put in place so that you can work together.
That would be an interlocal with Boys and Girls Club?
Correct.
Okay.
Golden Triangle Boys and Girls Club. What we're really trying to do, and I don't need to speak on behalf of this at all, there's been a lot of meetings, is to get the ball rolling so that they can get an idea about how much money they need to raise. So what we're looking for is a preliminary cost estimate. No plans and specifications, no hard drawings, just a preliminary estimate on how much money.
But would we be able to, and this is my question, is it gonna mess up the grant proposal if we wait until November to be able to go into an agreement? Cause this is obviously a long-term project.
Sure. We'll be almost in the same boat that we were this year, because that doesn't give them but a very short window. Now, the only other alternative to this would be for them to go and obtain an architectural firm on their own for a potential project, and that architectural firm could not be the firm of record if they prepare the preliminary cost estimate.
So whoever does the prelim can't do the actual
Work unless they are selected prior to the application being submitted.
So your recommendation today is to do,
Just bringing it to your attention,
Can we advertise without spending funds? The whole idea is that we can't spend funds, or we can't obligate it to the expenditures of funds. But can we advertise and get everything in place? Would that be a possibility, and no funds being spent or obligated?
You would be if you were advertising, actually.
Yeah.
In a way, in a sense, you'd be obligated.
I don't know who would, let me phrase it differently. I don't know who would do the work if you didn't sign a contract to get paid for the work you were going to do. And I think, does that make sense what I'm saying?
I guess I was thinking that we get everybody in place. Get architecture firm in place, get all the plans in place, but don't spend any funds.
The county's not actually gonna expend the funds, are they? It's not the Boys and Girls Club gonna spend the funds, we're just gonna be the pass-through.
You will be the pass-through, but ultimately you are responsible because you're the recipient of the federal funds.
So the check is wrote to them.
So the grant would be to the county.
Let you and I talk, let me make a few phone calls to Jackson, see if there is a way for us to do this without breaking some kind of rule
Sure.
law, and you and I'll talk.
Okay, because what have I always said? Too young to retire, too old to be marketable. I wanted to bring it to your attention. It's something that you need to be thinking about if indeed you do want to apply next year. So, it's never too early to start.
Assuming my board wants me to do that, I feel like that's I'm not trying to jump out there too far, but I get the impression that they want me to do that.
Okay.
Need a motion to take on advisement?
No, I don't think so. I think that I would rather us just have an informal conversation. That way you're not in a situation where we can do a motion to take under advisement if that's what y'all would like.
Motion to take, the CDBG grant application on advisement.
Got a motion, a second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk votes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
Great, thank
Good
you.
evening. All right, moving along to the precinct name changes, election commission. Good evening, sir.
How y'all say?
Yes, sir.
Greg Fools in District 1 election commission. We got, 5 of these precincts were been there 20 years ago. 2 were combined, smaller. Center Grove, North Davidson, we just want to change the name on it to North Davidson, because that's where its precinct's actually located. Craig Springs, South Bradley, it would be Craig Springs because it's in Hickory Grove Southeast, which is in Hickory Grove now. Sturgis, North Bradley would just be Sturgis, and the Self Creek, Dover Springs, make it just Dover Springs. We got 2 precincts that, when they redistricted last time, they took both precincts, the old took at its 2 precincts, and that's how we ended up with 48 people voting in 1 congressional district out of the whole precinct, and we got 18 in the other one. So it caused splits for just a handful of people.
And those people that were voting in Bradwell used to be 2 different tables in 1 location. Is that not the way it was? Remember, like there was, if you voted in 1 district, you were on 1 side of the room. If you voted on the other, you were on the other side of the room. So are we not still using the building across the road?
No, not Longview now.
Oh, not long. Okay.
Yeah, the Craig Springs, is on Craig Springs
Right,
Road,
right,
almost to
the
25.
fire station,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But still in Longview, still be 2 in 1 building?
Yeah, because it's actually 2 supervisor districts, North and South Longview, one's in
Right, one's
District
in-
4, one's in
okay.
District 1. We checked with Secretary of State, they said it's just the board just had to have board orders to be able to change the name, pretty much is all this is.
We got a motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Are there any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk votes. Motion passes unanimously.
Alright, and then the Self Creek, Dover Springs Fire Station is what we've been using there on, at Center Grove on 82. We don't have any air, anything like that. And we've got the Dover Springs Church is more centrally located in that district, and they give us permission to use the Family Life Center at the church. We just need permission to be able to move it.
Just board order.
Just board order.
We make sure that we do some advertising ahead of time so people know.
Well, that's why I want to do it. Go ahead and run it in the paper a few times,
it'll be
get a letter out.
this and that.
Yeah, in August. That's why I want to try to get it started now, so we have, 2 months to get it advertised.
Y'all are gonna get that done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They said long as 30 days prior, so we'll have 60 at least now.
Motion by Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Miller. Are there any questions concerning that motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk voting sign. Motion passes unanimously.
That's all I
Thank you, sir.
have.
We appreciate
Thank
all
y'all.
that. Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, moving right along, Gail King Center, Ms. Harris.
Good evening. Today. My name is Latala Harris. I am the current director of the Gail King Center over on North Long Street on the west side by the Gail King Park. I'm gonna give you guys some handouts here. So what you're looking at is pretty much a rundown of what we do with the Gail King Center. So what we pretty much do, we have a wraparound service at the King Center, we offer GED testing, work keys testing, families, life skills, and we offer a youth program, after school youth program as well. We do offer, anger management, and we have child care providers that provides child care for those students, in the morning from 8 to 12 that pretty much are involved in those classes or any of those things that we do in the morning. Pretty much we were a part of the Starville School District, and lately, we pretty much got the news that they were going to pretty much close down the program. They cannot afford to, pay us or pretty much hold us up with the utilities any longer. So our hopes is to pretty much keep this going in this community. If you know anything about that side of town, this is needed on that side of town. We have families, we have children that attend our program on a daily basis. If you look through, we have success stories. We have people that have gotten their GED through this program. They've gotten their work piece testing. They've gone on to do better things in their lives because of this program. Now, if we lose this program, we lose a lot. We lose pretty much the legacy of the J.L. King Center and what Mr. Lucas stood for and what he did to pretty much have that building over there on that side of town. Also, what we're losing is service to that side of town. Half of the people on that side of town cannot really get to Emerson to get these services done because it's pretty much landlocked. It takes them all day to get to that side of town to pretty much even get their GEDs and get those classes that they need to pretty much get to their success level that they're trying to get to. I've had a student to tell me it took her at least an hour and a half to get there, and it took her all day to get back home. Just to pretty much get to that side of town, to pretty much get that type of programming that they need on that side of town. Now, be partnering with churches, be partnering with different people in the community to pretty much make things happen and to, give help to those in the community that actually come to us for help. We help people with all kinds of things. We call in favors, we call in people that can just help people that need the kind of help that they need. Outside of those services, we're like social workers, even though we're not social workers. We pretty much house these people in this community and they need us, and we don't want to lose what we have going in the community. So what we're asking for is your help with our utilities. If you look at the yellow sheet, it pretty much shows you our monthly budget. And what we're trying to do right now is Allison Bueller and Mr. Paul Luckett have pretty much come up with a concept of the Lighthouse Project. The Lighthouse Project is pretty much different churches, businesses in the community that are going to pledge $1,000 for 5 years to help secure funding until we get other funding for the community. Since we won't have that funding that we lost through Families First with Dr. Butler and the Emerson Families First program, which we would no longer be with starting June the 1st. We would no longer be under Families First, well, not Families First, but Emerson's Family Center program. We'll be pretty much being funded through Chicken Salad Chick and a couple of other people that have donated generously to help us keep the program going until August. So we're pretty much running a summer program this summer, which will pretty much geared towards the youth, but we'll still run a community service type of program for adults that still want to study abroad and still do well, not abroad, but study by themselves and still study for their GED and their work keys testing, but they can't get it through us anymore because we don't have the funding to pay for their testing any longer since we're not partnering with Emerson anymore. So they can still study with us, but not get that free testing that they were getting at first. So pretty much we're asking the Board of Supervisors to help us to pay our utilities. Our utilities pretty much, it runs us $12,000 or $1,200, and our internet and our water sewage is $350 and $150, and that's pretty much what we're asking for the board to help us with to continue our services. Right now, we have raised about $25,000 through the Lighthouse Project. That's with the current churches and businesses that have already pledged their $1,000 or have partnered with another business, which is they'll go half and half. One person will pay $5,000, $500, and the other would pay 500, or 3 ways, or 4 ways. There's plenty of ways to actually donate to this cause. So we're trying to pretty much secure the rest of the funding for the rest of the summer. So right now we're at about 25,000. So we're hoping to reach the next 25, well, the next 30 within the next 3 to 4 months, so we can secure funding for the fall, well, next 2 months.
You asking the board for $2,700, that seems to be the amount to take care of
Our,
the utilities.
Yes, sir.
When we look at the electricity and the internet
And the water sewage.
and the water sewage,
Yes, sir.
2,700.
Is that the 12, 350? Oh, is that 350 per internet and phone, or is that?
No, that's just the internet service and phone together.
Okay.
It's, I think it's through Max Out.
For the board to be able to give to this particular organization, we would have to do what's called a local and private that would allow it through the legislative process. And I actually tried to get you guys in but we couldn't get all the paperwork in this last session. So, not saying what this board will or will not do, that's not what I'm trying to do, but procedurally, they have to do a local and private and get it through the legislative process. With that one,
You remember Brickfire, wasn't it Brickfire that didn't get through last year, and so they were not, funded just simply because it has to be passed on the state before we can do anything.
I'd like to offer a motion to that, so we have it on our, board minutes. I motion that we move forward with local and private funding requests by the legislators, in the next session.
Will you add to your motion that she come before the board, for our next budget cycle with an official request?
I don't think we need to do that. We just need to make a commitment.
well,
We need to make a commitment, and when we get around to establishing the budget, we'll know whether or not, we're gonna move forward with that.
I think this is a proper motion. I'll go ahead and put it in as for the minutes, but we probably need to get in November, I hate to do this, but in November, the next board to reaffirm this particular.
Yeah, they have to reaffirm it, right?
But I think that will be proper. I'll make myself a note to make sure it gets reaffirmed.
You seek the funding for the comment, because these 3 items you gave us, when will you actually need that funding? Are you prepared right now to go until the session again?
Well, right now, we're only prepared for something. We're not prepared for any AE classes at this particular moment. Before we found out about the funding and not being able to keep going under Dr. Millay and Emerson Family Center Programming, we were meeting with Emerson about partnering with them and them bringing their NCC program over to that part of town to enhance our AE program. But since we're not partnering with them, and they just found out today that we're not with Emerson anymore, so we don't know the future of that, but it's still in question because they are still looking for a location and they want the location to be GOK Center. So, but the only thing is soft funds, so they only can provide those services and not utilities.
Ms. Harris, just for the folks out there on Facebook, how much money are you needing to make it through this next cycle, I guess, to get to the next level?
Okay, well, when we calculated pretty much our costs as far as funding with, salaries and supplies and what we normally would need on a monthly basis, we came up with a $60,000, fund, and that's pretty much what we were raising with the Lighthouse Project. Is that for 5 years, these companies and churches or private organizations would fund for 5 years up to that $6,000 when we met that goal until we, and the other funding would come from those soft funds that we define.
So $60,000 would run the program for a year? Is
Yes,
that what
sir.
you're telling me? And are y'all tax deductible for businesses that would want to to try to give money to this, is that something that would be tax deductible for them?
Okay, so after we left with, Dr. Butler, and we're pretty much going through the homestead right now. So the next step was to be, we were not sure whether we were gonna be going through the city, because they were trying to figure out if we were going to be partnering with Parks and Rec, and if they would be able to include us in their, enhancement to the parks, and the new movement that they were doing, and I think I didn't know the grants that they were doing.
Cover their utilities through Parks and Rec at the next budget cycle.
So right now, it's not a 501c3.
Only through the homestead is who we're working through, and they are a nonprofit.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any contribution will have to be made through homestead, so it'll be a 601c.
So homestead is a 501c3, it's just, I'm
So are you actually housed under homestead?
Now, as far as being housed under the homestead, what the summer program is doing for us is keeping the building open, even though they let Emerson out of the contract. They had a contract, a lease, and they let them out that lease early. So now that building belongs to the city, or they're gonna give it to Parks and Rec. So Parks and Rec has decided to pretty much help cover part of the funding for the summer, along with Chicken Sandwiches and other donors, that we were able to secure funding to pay 3 staff members for the summer, and work study students through Mississippi State University to cover the coverage for the students in summer camp.
Ross, could you talk with the city and see exactly what they're planning on doing?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm hearing 2 or 3 different parts of
Yes,
it.
sir.
The city owns the facility, but your program is in homestead. So could you kind of
Yes, sir.
research it and see?
Yes, sir, I'll do whatever y'all would like. I will say this, I mean, whatever we do today is not gonna be effective. I mean, we'll have to redo some of this in November, so if you'd like me to research some of this and get some of this back, that probably would be a better dynamic. Can I get do you have a card or something that you
I
want?
don't have a card on me.
Give me your telephone number, you may not want to announce it.
Well, it's public, cause I
Okay.
lost it.
Go ahead.
My email address is Latala Harris, LATALLA Harris, HARRIS, @gmail.com. My cell phone number is 648-8137. Yeah, I appreciate you guys hearing me today.
So we have a motion by Supervisor Williams, is there a second to the motion? Please state your motion.
My motion is that we'll, make a commitment to look into the possibility of local and private funding for the jail King Center. And that's to look into the possibility.
A motion, got a second? Any discussion on the motion? Supervisor Howard. All those in favor, let me know by the vote sign. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Nick Floyd and Associates, Term Life Insurance. Mr. Rice and Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I would like to thank the board for giving us the opportunity to come and present insurance products to you all. We're with Nick Floyd and Associates, brokerage agency. This is Mr. Rice, Wayne Rice. He's gonna speak to you about the term insurance, and I'm gonna speak to you briefly about the medical bridge program.
Alright, on the right side of your folder, you'll see that this brochure is on the term life to 100. The term to 100 is, it's like on a whole life chassis. So you pay the premiums to age 100, and your benefit and your premiums stay the same. Like on a whole life policy, you build a cash value in this. This builds no cash value, you just have a death benefit. Where that comes into play is when you have group term life. Your group term life, your employees are either not able to take it with them when they leave here, or when they leave here, they take it with them at the age that they are at that time. It also drops about 35% when they turn 65. It drops again when they're 70. This stays the same continually, so it will be that way for the rest of their life. If they live to be 101, they might have a problem, but
Does it have cash value?
it does not. That's what makes it different between the whole life and the term. This, like I said, is portable. It has 2 questions that you ask, and that is, have you been in the hospital in the last 6 months, and do you have AIDS or HIV? If you answer that question no, you can get the policy. Employee can get it up to $100,000. The employee's spouse can get it up to $50,000 on that same 2 questions. You can write it on your children up to age 26. You can write it on your grandchildren with just your signature. I did say it's portable, right? Right. Okay. So, are there any questions in what I said so far?
Portable, what do you mean portable?
That means when they leave this job, that they can take it with them at no price increase. The rate never changes on it, so. I see also in there, if you decide to put a child rider, if you have multiple kids, and you don't wanna take out an individual policy on each one of them, you can take out a child rider. It's $10,000 on each child for $5.42 a month. The $5.42 is not per child. That's on if you got 1 or if you've got 10. My purpose here is to ask for a payroll slot on this. So if you would consider that, I would appreciate that. I'm gonna turn it over to Al to tell you about the medical bridge.
Okay, I wanna add a little something to the, term 100. Pretty much, this product caught I recently because give you a prime example of myself. I'm a diabetic. I'm considered to be overweight. People with pre-existing conditions, we have problems with getting life insurance. People deny us all the time. Here I am, I don't mind saying, I got a $29,000 policy, but I have to pay $91 for it. That's ridiculous. That's all that I have, okay? So, this product here helps people with the premiums, also that has pre-existing conditions. You can have ongoing cancer, am I correct?
That's right.
As long as you answer those 2 questions, you haven't been in the hospital for 6 months, or you don't have HIV, alright, you can get that policy. It's a guaranteed issue policy. So to me that stands out pretty strong, and then when you look at the rates, what you pay for a whole life policy compared to a term policy that'll cover you to 100 years old, that's a big difference too, because with your group term, the policy gonna depreciate at the age of 65. 5 years after that, it's gonna depreciate again. And just say if you had a $100,000 policy, you'd be down to, if you had a $50,000 policy, you'd be down to $25,000 before you know it, or less. And that's what happened to term policies. Now, the next thing is, Dwayne, as he said, we're asking to be able to have a payroll slot with the county. And also I want to introduce to you all the medical bridge program. We are a large brokerage firm. We handle health insurance as well. Pretty much we're considered to have one of the best plans in the state of Mississippi. What our program does is decrease your premium and it increases your benefits. Now, everybody I know nowadays, the way insurance goes, you pretty much end up with $1,000 better deductible. we put our plan together that puts you at a $500 deductible all the time. In some cases, you can have a $250 deductible with the medical bridge program. This program is one of the best programs that we have seen around, because what it does too, it includes short-term disability in your plan at no cost, dental, vision. We also have something that's called eDoc of America, where you can call the nurse hotline or you can communicate with doctors on the website, okay? This plan also reimburse money back to the county at the end of the year of all unused premium. And how this works is premium that's paid in, once it is paid, the claims are paid, money that's left over is refunded back to the county. Now we do have some references. I didn't bring the letters today, but if you all would like to check with different counties, I can give you. We're at Tunica County today. We just got approved today for it to come back and do re-enrollment. Jasper County, Marion County, City of Greenville, several more. But we can give you a letter of reference if needed. But we're asking for it to be able to come quote on the health insurance as well. He's asking for the life insurance payroll slot, and I'm asking for to be able to come back and quote on your major medical health insurance. So I hope that at some point you all will give us an opportunity. We'll be glad to come in. We're the type of agency that if it's not broke, why fix it? You can't fix it if it's not broke. We up front, we're gonna tell you exactly what we can do, but we just would like the opportunity to show you how to maneuver some things. If you got some high costs, we'd like to show you our program on how to get it down. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Jackson and Mr. Wright? If not, we certainly appreciate you all coming, appreciate the information. I'm sure we'll be taking all this under consideration sometime soon. Dealing with insurance is something that we do and we deal with it from time to time, so we'll be certainly take all this under consideration. We appreciate you all coming today.
Okay,
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for your contact information too.
All right, you're welcome.
Yes, got papers.
Excuse me.
All right, moving right along, Mr. Loudon, Mr. Christian, Flag Lake Road project.
Board, thank you for the opportunity to come before you tonight. Our report entails the acquisition of property, the monetary values associated with that property, and the potential litigation against those property owners if they continue to hold out. Therefore, I would recommend that the board go in executive session to hear this topic under Mississippi Code Section 25-147. I know it's always inconvenient to clear a room, but I do believe that best protects the negotiating and litigation interest of the county.
You've heard the recommendation, what's the pleasure of the council? Motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard. Are there any questions on the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote saying. Motion passes unanimously.
Turn it off.
Oh, we not live?
Huh?
We not live?
We were? It's recording.
Oh.
So he just turned it off. He'll turn it off to go into executive session.
Also in your packet, we have, a request from Mr. Pritchard for, the two projects that we just accepted, Red Springs, Louisville, and White Oak, for $12,895.28, and for Miller Road, $3,562.68. That's, for the engineering fee. I need to get an order to approve that payment.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor, Howard, second by Supervisor
Miller.
Miller. Are there any questions on the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote saying. Motion passes unanimously.
I'd like to make a motion to pay whatever we need to pay on this report to, we're on hold with.
Clyde needs to put through an order to take that, you're owing it for retainage.
Okay.
So you need to put through a request for us to pay.
That's that what it is, the tank?
Yeah.
Were you fixing to say something about that?
Well, I was just gonna say on Mill Road and on the Craig Springs, whatever, we issued notice of award today.
Okay.
Tell, with the board orders, saying send me your bond, send me your insurance, as soon as they get those, we'll give them notice this week.
And that's a 60 or 90 day.
One was 60, one was 45. I think Miller will have to do a 45-day job, I think yours was a little
60
more
days.
than 60 days.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, moving on right along, Ms. Gary.
You have it in your packet, Sheriff's Department incident report that was filled out after the fact. We run, I think 8 chainsaws after the storm, and had, 2 of them still sitting in the shop, and 1 walked off and didn't come back. So I need the commission to take the chainsaw off of inventory.
Motion to take off chainsaw.
Supervisor Williams. Is there a second?
What does that mean?
It means no
It's
snow.
just gone.
It just stole.
So when something come up stolen, just take it off inventory?
No, we actually,
This question.
well, I've got to, we no longer have a chainsaw, and I think the order in here says that when something comes up missing, you're supposed to notify the police department immediately. We did not do that. We should immediately have notified the police department to come in and shut down and searched all the vehicles. But we don't own this, we don't have this chainsaw anymore. So the audit department told my, inventory control clerk that the board of supervisors have to approve taking it off of inventory.
Well, can I ask something? In prior meetings, we've talked about tools coming up stolen and things like that, garbage bags or whatever, the need for cameras. This is the first time we've ever seen something like this in the packet. Or is all that other stuff not on inventory?
Most of the stuff so far has not been on inventory. This was a brand new chainsaw. So, we do need cameras in the shop, because we do have stuff that's constantly being.
Do we have an inventory system right now for
Yes,
it?
we have an inventory system.
And we do inventory checks every year?
Yes, we do inventory checks every year. But we don't check every item on the inventory every year.
We got a motion. Second. Any more discussion concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote sign. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 4-1.
Got a right-of-way easement request from OktBoardOfSupervisorsS052019 board along with, Oktibbeha Road.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Johnson, second by Supervisor Williams. Any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
While back, MSU donated one of the old transit buses to, emergency management. They're gonna make a command center out of it. So I need a order accepting the donation so we can insure it.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. Any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the clerk vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
I have, change order request for the safe room. And I need to get Mr. Springer to sign. The net amount is $30,298.
How much?
The net amount's $30,298.
Not the change order?
There's several different items in, put a copy in your packet. $32.98 the net amount. There's some taken off and some putting on.
And I guess that's because it wasn't in the specs,
That's correct, we've, it's not in the specs, we added a cabinet, it's sink, in it, cause we had nowhere to make coffee or anything, if we had an event down there. We had no place at all to make coffee or that sort of stuff, that's $30,000. Changing the plumbing, $500. For the county doing their, some of the site work down there, it was a minus $47,000.
This is money too good.
The bricks was
$30,000 less.
Yes, it is $30,000 less. Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank
you for the explanation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Never mind then, okay.
Thank you.
That's my motion for approval.
Well, motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor. Any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let it be known by the pro vote sign. Motion passed unanimously. Oh, okay. I think we talked last time about the massive trustee ballot. We have, is this the one that we signed?
Yeah, need signing, and both of them need to be signed if we're gonna do a proxy vote.
Okay. Well, you all know the way that massive system works. We have, this year we got elected trustees for the massive board, which is our insurance trust board. And there's 6, it says vote for up to 6 candidates. And I think last year what we did, I don't know whether we selected one, but anyway, you got a slate of candidates. We need to vote for, well, I said vote for up to 6. But anyway, we need to decide who we want to select, and we need to sign it, and we need to go ahead and send it in, and we won't have to worry about whether it gets in or not. I don't know whether y'all want to just pick one, or how y'all want to do it, but you all should have gotten this in the mail.
I know a couple of them on there, but I want to make that choice now.
I think we have to have it, I've gotta send it back to them.
By June 11th. Well, you can bring it by June 11th, but if you send it, it says to send it, you need to have it in the office by June 30th.
Can we hold on that, just, so we do a little more research?
No problem. You just need to have it in sent by June 30th, so.
That's the next board meeting.
Next board meeting on June 7th.
Okay.
June 6th.
We get it back up on the agenda for next board meeting, that way we'll.
The next board meeting is June what?
June 30th.
June 30th.
So we'll have to deliver it then.
I guess we can email it.
Fax it,
Email it, I mean, there's a proxy. If no one's gonna be there to do the vote for us, we have to do the proxy ballot also, so we
Okay.
sign both of them, and I can email it to them.
All right.
I should be there, but at the same time, I'd rather have this done prior, because you don't know what may come up. Definitely my suggestion, but yeah, you can do it. You can email it, and you can fax it, if you need to.
I'll bring it back again next time.
So if we do it on the 3rd, we need to make sure we get it signed. I guess I'll close business, get it back in. That'll give everybody plenty of time to look at it and research, and then we still have to decide which way we got 6 people. You know, each one of us pick one, and we just draw straws for the 6th person, I guess, if y'all wanna do that. But all those guys, I know them all, well, you know, all of them, good person, some of them already said. All right, moving right along, anything else, Ms. Gary?
No, sir.
All right, I think, Attorney Robinson has an item that we need to take into consideration, so.
I would ask us to go into executive session to discuss a big issue in what the roads left me, obviously.
Going into it.
So moved.
Pleasant Acres.
Pleasant Acres, thank you. And discuss a possible meeting this week as well.
You've heard the request, we got a motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Howard. Let the clerk sign the motion. All those in favor, let me know by the clerk vote sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Do we have, I think we have a work order for us to proceed with engineering on that portion of Courthouse Road? I thought we did, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm running an estimate for you now to see how much we can do, you know, with the money that you have remaining. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. Have a good evening.
All right, Flat, thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Did you want to discuss some of this that you email about, I mean, a text
none.
Okay.
Supervisor Miller, you have anything?
Just had a couple of things. Y'all, I'm on the committee for the scholarship fund, and, the maximum amount we awarded to Oktibbeha County. One of them was to Cameron D. Bell, and that would be Stephen Bell's son, I believe. The other one is Jessica Marie Surma, S-U-R-M-A. And her mother actually works in Webster County, or her grandmother works in Webster County. However, because she goes to school at Mississippi State University and lives in Starkville, it was allocated to her, and that, sometimes we do that on the board. We can go either way, and that allows Webster County to get their 1, 2 that they had. So, was gonna let you know that we had the most that we've ever received, which was 144. Not all of them qualified, and, what we do when we go down there is, the ones that are questioned about, if it's a tie for 3 or 4 for one county, and they only are allotted 2, we make a decision based off the scoring or that kind of thing, the committee, and it's a committee of, 3 of us, that are on that. The other thing is that I had talked to, Kelvin Gibson about a bus turnaround for 1811 Ennis Road. Has he emailed you? I called him last week. Can you follow up on that, please? That is the Caraway's driveway, and the bus is going around their arena. And so it's been doing that for quite some time. You know, they have a circular driveway, and they did ask, could we do something? And so when I talked to Kelvin, he said that he would send you an email last week about that.
1811
Ennis Road, yes, we need to address that, because the bus is going around in that circle.
Do you wanna approve that one pending the letter, or you wanna wait till you get the letter for the next action?
What letter requesting it? Yeah, that's fine. But I'm not sure why he didn't, like I said, it was 2 days ago, and I meant to email him again this morning and see.
They send them to the road department, and the road department sends them on to me, so I check with the road department and see if they received it and get them forwarded.
Okay, because I did call to see first if it was one, and it was not, and just gravel on the right of way is not gonna help these people.
Yeah, I got a motion by Supervisor Miller, second by Supervisor Zimmerman, that we go ahead and authorize this pending everything, and all the time that we know what we need to do. Any questions concerning the motion? All those in favor, let me know by the clerk vote, motion passes unanimously.
I asked the people on the trash, board to, for some reason, the trash truck doesn't seem, the one that's running in Sturgis is maybe not closing good or something. We have a lot more trash in the area on the roads, and I had some citizens call me to say that they were seeing it blow out of the back of the trash trucks. So if y'all could address that with whomever, I don't know how we help to eliminate that problem, but.
Well, I mean, if you had said something to me, we met this Thursday, I could've brought it before the board, but have you said you addressed somebody on the board? Who did you talk to?
No, I said y'all that are on the trash board.
Okay, I thought you said.
No, I've called Mr. Benny about it, and I've asked the county to pick up, but I have not addressed that, and then I also wanted to say that, I was very appreciative that, we had the memorial service, Craig Springs on Sunday for, that church that's there and the cemetery, everybody that's buried there. And the county had gotten back down to Craig Springs and cleaned up that area, and everybody was very appreciative because the cars could park and there was not debris in the road, so I wanted to say that I appreciated that. And then the last thing that I would say is the election commission stuff that's in there, I hope that we will consider paying their, some type of insurance for them in the future, as we move forward. That's all I have.
Yeah, they spoke to me on that deal too, I would like to see us consider that also. I was looking at the information, and I see some do it and some don't, but I saw at the bottom, the footnote at the bottom, so I guess it is legal that you can do it, but it's still optional.
And they also changed the law on the, Rob can confirm this, but they changed the law that, on the dependents, amount, because,
That was a-
99% of the counties were breaking the law.
That was a statewide problem that was.
And, on the amount that was being paid, there actually was a formula. And, so the audit department realized that 99% of the people in the counties were not doing it correctly, and so they changed the law. So we can supplement now the dependents' premiums.
All right, that's it.
That's it for me.
All right. Supervisor Williams, anything?
Yes, would like you to check a bus turnaround on El Zeno Road. I don't know whether you've got that bus turnaround from
On what road?
El Zeno Road.
I have not.
Okay, if you will check that, I would appreciate it. I would like to see the board, and I'll talk to, President Trainer about the possibility of having David Kenneth with, the Corps of Engineers to, come before the board and address our board. And I would like to see, Mr. Kenneth come next, at our next board meeting if that way possible. The problem is that we don't have any consistency with how to keep creeks, the debris out of creeks. But they will clean those creeks out for us on a consistent basis. So we need a plan of consistency for keeping those creeks, taken care of. And we especially saw that happen in the last storm where all that debris ended up in the creek and it started going downstream, and we found it other places afterward. The good thing about that is that what it was cost us is very reasonable to get that done. We will be billed on the 1983 millage rate, and the 1983 millage rate, Ms. Emily has checked that out. The 1983 millage rate it wasn't even $50,000, I don't believe.
49,846.
49,896.
46.
So you see, that's a deal. That's a deal. So we'll be billed on half that millage rate. So it really be half that millage rate. So really we talking about something to keep our creeks clean and keep the debris out of the creeks on consistent basis, about $20-some thousand a year. So that's, to me, that's a deal to make sure all that debris is out of the creek, and we won't have that type of flooding like we have in situations now. So in closing out, I would like for, maybe we can get Mr. David Kenneth to come and address the board at our next board meeting to tell us more about that process. I do have some individuals who are requesting credits, but I don't have any type of documentation to document that they really own that property. So I'm getting that documentation now, and hopefully I'll have that information back next board meeting.
All right, sounds good. Supervisor Howard, anything from District Three? Supervisor McDowell, anything before?
What on the cans or garbage cans, do we know where the parts are, replacement parts?
There should be some down at the, central shop. Have you checked?
Well, I went down there, I didn't see them. I'll ask again.
They should be down at the central shop, because I think our guy went over and picked up a bunch of them and brought them back.
I'll check.
That's what it should be.
Say there's a black market for.
We need to look into that.
I didn't get a few from over there, but I got maybe 4 or 5 on that truck. But I don't have anything from my area. I do know on the 3rd, I might not be here. On the 3rd of January. I got a thing I got to do for my son with John Deere, and I got to sign him up so he can be able to be a technician for John Deere. I may go to Greenwood that day. So if I'm not here, that's why I'll be. So we'll be in your control. And then, Ms. Williams, I think you've taken care of the veterans, the Memorial Day program for Monday. Appreciate you doing
I was
that.
gonna ask who was gonna do that on Monday.
Right. And And, so Mr. Williams gonna cover that, so. Anything else from anybody? If not, just make sure we decide on what we're gonna do about the master trustees, and we'll get that process. We'll consider an order to stand adjourned to the first Monday. Motion by Supervisor No, second by Supervisor McDonough. All those in favor, motion passes unanimously. You all have a good evening.